Have you ever felt like you've wasted time? Like months have slipped through your fingers without you even noticing? I know I have. There were times in my life when I looked back and wondered where all that time went. 2 months gone in the blink of an eye. But here's the thing, those 2 months you think you wasted, they're nothing compared to the 10 months ahead of you. 10 months that can change everything. 10 months that can reshape your entire future. And I'm here to tell you exactly how to make those 10 months count. Now you might be thinking, 10 months? That's not even a full year. How much can I really accomplish in that time? Let me tell you something, 10 months is an eternity if you know how to use it. It's 43 weeks, it's 304 days, it's 7,300 hours. And every single one of those hours is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to change, to become the person you've always wanted to be. But before we dive into how to make those 10 months count, let's talk about those 2 months you think you wasted. I want you to do something for me right now. Take a deep breath, close your eyes for a moment, and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for what you perceive as wasted time. Because here's the truth, that time wasn't wasted. It was a lesson. It was preparation. It was the setup for your comeback story. You see, every single experience we have, every moment we live through shapes us, it molds us, it prepares us for what's to come. Those 2 months you think you wasted, they taught you something valuable. They showed you what doesn't work. They highlighted the areas of your life that need change. And most importantly, they brought you here, to this moment, where you're ready to take control of your life and make the next 10 months count. So, how do we do it? How do we take these next 10 months and turn them into the most productive, most transformative period of our lives? It starts with a shift in mindset. It starts with understanding that time is the most precious resource we have, more valuable than money, more important than possessions. Time is the currency of life, and we need to start spending it wisely. The first step is to set clear, defined goals. Not vague wishes or half-hearted resolutions, but concrete, specific goals that excite you, that scare you a little, that make you want to jump out of bed in the morning. These goals should cover every aspect of your life. Your career, your health, your relationships, your personal growth. Write them down. Make them real. Make them tangible. But here's the key. Don't just set goals for 10 months from now. Set goals for next week, for next month, for 3 months from now. Create a roadmap for your success. Because 10 months is long enough to achieve something incredible, but it's also short enough that we need to make every day count. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but I don't know what I want to achieve in 10 months. I don't even know what I want for dinner tonight. And that's okay. That's where exploration comes in. One of the most valuable things you can do in these 10 months is to try new things, to experiment, to step out of your comfort zone. Have you always wanted to learn a new language? Start today. Download a language learning app, commit to 30 minutes a day, and in 10 months, you could be having conversations in a whole new tongue. Have you been putting off getting in shape? Today's the day to start. 10 months from now, you could be in the best shape of your life. Have you dreamed of starting a business? These 10 months could see you go from idea to launch. The point is, these 10 months are a blank canvas. They're an opportunity to paint the life you've always wanted. But you have to pick up the brush. You have to make the first stroke. You have to start. And starting is often the hardest part. We get caught up in planning and preparing, in waiting for the perfect moment. But let me tell you something, there is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. The perfect moment is whenever you decide to begin. So how do we begin? How do we take that first step? It starts with your daily routine. The way you structure your day will determine the way you structure your life. And if you want these 10 months to be transformative, you need to transform your daily habits. Let's start with your mornings. How you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. I want you to commit to waking up 1 hour earlier than you usually do. I know you love your sleep. But think about it, 1 extra hour every day for 10 months. That's 304 extra hours. That's nearly 2 weeks of waking time that you're adding to your life. And what will you do with this extra hour? You'll invest it in yourself. You'll use it to work towards your goals. Maybe you'll use it to exercise, to meditate, to read, to work on that side project you've been putting off. The specific activity doesn't matter as much as the consistency. What matters is that you're starting your day with purpose, with intention, but it's not just about mornings. It's about how you approach every hour of your day. It's about being mindful of how you're spending your time. Are you scrolling mindlessly through social media, or are you engaging in activities that bring you closer to your goals? Are you watching hours of TV every night, or are you using that time to learn, to grow, to create? I'm not saying you need to be productive every minute of every day. Rest is important, relaxation is crucial, but it's about finding the right balance. It's about being intentional with your time, even your downtime. One powerful tool I want you to start using is time blocking. This is where you schedule your day in blocks, assigning specific tasks or activities to each block. This helps you stay focused, avoid multitasking, and ensure you're making progress on all your goals. For example, you might block out 7 a.m. for your morning routine, 9 a.m. for exercise, 9 a.m., 12 p.m. for your most important work tasks, 12 to 1 p.m. for lunch and a quick walk, 4 p.m. for meetings or collaborative work, 6 p.m. for learning or personal projects, 8 p.m. for family time, and 10 p.m. for relaxation and preparation for the next day. The exact schedule will depend on your personal circumstances and goals, but the principle remains the same. Be intentional with your time. Know what you're going to do before you do it. This level of planning might seem restrictive at first, but it actually gives you more freedom. When you know you've allocated time for all your priorities, you can fully engage in each activity without guilt or distraction. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, but what about spontaneity? What about living in the moment? And you're right to ask that. Life isn't all about rigid schedules and non-stop productivity. There needs to be room for joy, for spontaneity, for those unexpected moments that make life worth living. So here's what I suggest. Schedule time for spontaneity. Yes, you heard me right. Block out time in your calendar for unplanned activities. Maybe it's a few hours every weekend, or maybe it's one evening a week. This is your time to be completely free to do whatever feels right in the moment. By scheduling this time, you're ensuring that you have space in your life for those spontaneous joys, while still maintaining the structure that will drive you towards your goals. But let's talk about those goals for a moment. Because setting goals is one thing, but achieving them is another entirely. And if we want to make these 10 months count, we need to become masters of goal achievement. The first step in achieving any goal is to break it down into smaller, manageable tasks. Let's say one of your goals for these 10 months is to write a book. That's a big, daunting goal. But what if we break it down? If you commit to writing just 500 words a day, every day for these 10 months, you'll have written 1,520,000 words. That's a substantial novel. Suddenly, that big, scary goal becomes a series of small, achievable tasks. Write 500 words today, then do it again tomorrow, and the next day. It's not always easy, but it's simple. And simplicity is power when it comes to achieving goals. This principle applies to any goal. Want to run a marathon in 10 months? Start by running for 10 minutes today, then 12 minutes tomorrow, then 15. Small, consistent steps lead to massive results over time. But here's the thing about goals. They're not just about the end result. They're about who you become in the process of achieving them. When you commit to writing 500 words a day, you're not just working towards a finished book. You're becoming a writer. You're developing discipline, creativity, perseverance. When you commit to running every day, you're not just working towards completing a marathon. You're becoming an athlete. You're developing endurance, mental toughness, dedication. This is the real power of these 10 months. Yes, you'll achieve specific goals. Yes, you'll tick things off your bucket list. But more importantly, you'll be transforming yourself. You'll be becoming the person capable of achieving those goals. And so much more. So as you set your goals for these 10 months, I want you to think not just about what you want to achieve, but about who you want to become. What qualities do you want to develop? What skills do you want to master? What kind of person do you want to be 10 months from now? And here's a powerful exercise to help you with this. I want you to write a letter to yourself dated 10 months from now. In this letter, I want you to describe in vivid detail the life you're living. What have you achieved? How do you feel? What does your typical day look like? How have you changed? Really let yourself dream big here. Imagine the best possible outcome of these 10 months. Imagine that you've used every day, every hour to its fullest potential. Imagine that you've overcome every obstacle, pushed through every moment of doubt, seized every opportunity. Now, here's the crucial part. I want you to write this letter as if all of these things have already happened. Use the present tense. I am instead of I will be. I have instead of I will have. This isn't just a goal-setting exercise. This is about creating a vivid, compelling vision of your future that's so real, so tangible, that you can't help but work towards it. Keep this letter somewhere you can see it every day. Read it every morning as part of your new morning routine. Let it inspire you. Let it remind you why you're putting in the work, why you're making the most of these 10 months. But vision alone isn't enough. We need to couple that vision with action. And that's where habits come in. Our habits, those small actions we perform day in and day out, often without even thinking about them, are what will ultimately determine our success. So let's talk about how to build powerful habits that will drive you towards your goals. The first thing to understand is that willpower alone isn't enough. We can't rely on motivation to carry us through. Motivation is fickle, it comes and goes. What we need is a system, a set of habits so ingrained that we follow them whether we feel motivated or not. The key to building these habits is to start small, ridiculously small. So small that it seems almost trivial. Want to build a habit of reading every day? Don't start with an hour, start with 1 page, just 1 page a day. It seems so small as to be almost meaningless, but here's the thing, it's sustainable. You can do 1 page no matter how busy you are, no matter how tired you are. And once you've built the habit of reading 1 page, it's easy to read 2, then 5, then a chapter. This principle applies to any habit you want to build. Want to start meditating? Begin with just 1 minute a day. Want to start exercising? Start with 1 push-up. The goal at first isn't to see massive results. The goal is simply to establish the habit, to create that daily touch point with your goal. Another powerful strategy for building habits is to tie them to existing routines. This is called habit stacking. For example, if you want to build a habit of gratitude, you might decide to think of 3 things you're grateful for while you brush your teeth each morning. By tying the new habit to an existing one, you make it much more likely to stick. But building new habits is only half the battle. We also need to break old habits that aren't serving us, and this can often be even more challenging. We all have habits that we know aren't good for us, but we struggle to break free from them. Maybe it's hitting the snooze button too many times each morning. Maybe it's reaching for junk food when we're stressed. Maybe it's procrastinating on important tasks. The key to breaking these habits is to understand their underlying causes. Every habit, good or bad, serves a purpose. That junk food habit, it's probably not really about the food. It's about stress relief. That procrastination habit, it's probably about avoiding discomfort or fear of failure. Once we understand the real reasons behind our habits, we can start to address them. We can find healthier ways to relieve stress. We can work on our fear of failure. We can create environments that make it easier to make good choices and harder to fall back into bad habits. One powerful technique for breaking bad habits is to use implementation intentions. This is where you decide in advance how you'll handle situations that typically trigger your bad habits. For example, if I feel stressed and want to eat junk food, then I will take 3 deep breaths and go for a short walk instead. By planning your response in advance, you're much more likely to make the right choice in the moment.